Paul. Do you have any advice on how I can maintain a peaceful relationship with my devoted Christian parents as I get more serious about the practice? They call my regular visits to the temple as an unhealthy obsession, and no matter how I try to explain the teachings, they view Buddhism as a force of evil and indirect opposition to their Christian faith. My practice is seen as a stubborn defiance of them as well. I don't wish to anger or upset them, but it seems like as long as I am Buddhist, it's something unavoidable. Thank you very much.
And so this is a difficulty that many people have encountered before, and this is how things can go. So there was times when I was staying at Lombapong, Ajahn Chah's monastery, and some years, some occasions, there would be Christian priests who would come to study the Dhamma. And they sometimes also asked to stay at Wat Bapong, and Ajahn Chah gave permission. Also other occasions where Christian nuns would come. There'd be 3 of them who would come to study the Dhamma there. And so Ajahn Chah, he taught them. And so he taught them about seeing into emptiness and how to not differentiate between things, separate out into different religions. And he taught them about the kind of the highest, so the highest of God, the highest of Buddha, and this is the Dhamma, which is the just one thing, the same thing, that it's all empty. And the meaning of this is to not discriminate or separate out into this religion and that religion, Christianity and Buddhism. And so when we take up a religion, then there is a founder of that religion. And we kind of use those teachings to travel along this path of sila, samadhi, and panya, so virtue, collectedness, and wisdom, in order to abandon unskillful deeds, give rise to wholesome deeds. But when we cultivate that path and the mind comes into samadhi, just like we're training in samadhi, it comes to a state of stillness, then is there a religion there? Is there any Buddhism or Christianity there? Well, knowing the breath, knowing the in-breath and the out-breath, no need to recite Buddha, just being aware of the breath, and the mind comes to peace and stillness, that there isn't any religion there. So that's the peace of samadhi. If we contemplate into the truth of arising and ceasing, or the nature of all physical and mental phenomena, this is on the level of wisdom. But there too, there isn't a religion. It's just emptiness. So sometimes with monastics, we can separate out into various sects, into Mahayana and Theravada, for example. But in truth, they're not there. It's emptiness. It's Buddha, this nature of awakening. So when Ajahn Chah taught these Christian nuns in this way, there was rapture that arose within their hearts, and tears started flowing, and they gained this understanding into the Dhamma. So perhaps for you, if you go to the monastery very frequently, your mother has issues with this, so maybe you could do that less, and instead try to find a peaceful place where you can meditate. Because in truth, the temple is within our own hearts. And so if by going to the external temple problems arise, you can reduce that. And so try not to do something which gives rise to difficulty and agitation. So you can try to find a public spot that's a peaceful place, some place where you can do sitting meditation, walking meditation, be training in mindfulness. And maybe just once in a while can go to the temple. Because if you do that a lot, then you may think that you're getting obsessed with that. And so you try not to go so frequently. And in this way, then your mother can feel more at ease. Maybe she feels more at ease, then more wisdom will arise. And so for the parents, keeping their religion strictly, that's not wrong, and it can be a good thing. And it's normal for people to do this. And so we should also have this faith that the way that we're practicing is correct. And there's no need to separate out into these different religions. And so try to avoid that because everything is empty.
In meditation, I often feel a strong beam of energy on my forehead and in my palms. I then welcome this energy into my body and try to suffuse every part of it. My body then seems to have no boundary, and the breath becomes very soft. I then don't feel the hands and legs anymore, and the body feels like pleasant energy. Is this the right way to practice? Thank you, Tan Ajahn. May you and the Sangha be well. May all beings enter into Nibbana.
So this is a matter of a mind at peace. You can see when it's like this, then it can feel like there is energy. It's energy in the head or in the hands. It can feel like both the body and the mind are very buoyant, light. When it's like this, the thoughts that we have reduce, and there's rapture that comes up. And so when there's a lightness in the body and the mind, then the heart has come to one level of peace. This level where piti, this rapture is arising, then there's a contentment within our hearts. So there are 5 different manifestations of rapture. For example, the goosebumps in the hairs, through our body standing on end, and then feeling of energy or thrills through the body. And there's the tears flowing due to a fullness of heart. And so we can feel that way, this rapture, through recollecting the ways in which we've been generous, recollecting the meritorious things that we've done, the sila, the virtue that we've kept. We can also, while we're meditating, be recollecting the virtues of the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha. And this can draw the heart into feeling this fullness and happiness, feeling this rapture. So there's this rapture, this happiness that comes up within the heart, and this can be something that we can rely upon, a place of refuge for our minds. So there can also be these thrills going through the body, and sometimes also the body can feel like it gets very expansive, it grows out, or it grows very tall. Or that the feet and the hands disappear. Or that the body grows lighter and lighter until it feels like it's just not there at all. And we can see that when it feels like the body's disappeared, that the joy comes up to this degree, that there's a happiness like this. And as that grows, then our samadhi becomes deeper and deeper. And so this is the happiness that we gain in samadhi. So we can see that the ways in which our minds go off and thinking, proliferating, concocting, that these thoughts, they waste so much energy of our minds. Because we're always thinking about issues of self, always concocting these matters of me and mine. And so, coming to meditate, it's like we're charging the battery in our hearts. And if we're thinking a lot, then we're using that battery more and more, and the energy that we have gets less and less. So sitting in samadhi, that's a means of charging our battery, giving it energy, this energy of peace. And so it's like an electric car that uses this clean energy. And so when it's time for us to practice, then we sit in meditation and charging the energy of our minds. And it can feel sometimes as well like an energy is entering into us from outside. So there's a lightness, a peace in the body and the mind. And if we have this happiness and we sit like this for 1 hour, then when we come out of that, then it really feels like the heart and the mind are very cool. So just carry on doing what you're doing, that this is a correct way of practice, and practice further in this way.
Dear Luang Por Anan, may I know what does it mean by being established in the world from the 3 planes and 4 grounds of birth, with 5 aggregates, or 1 or 4, wandering from realm to realm?
So this is to do with the bhumis, so the realms of being or existence. And so all beings established in the world, so in these 3 realms, those 3 realms are the kama realm, so that of sensuality, the rupa realm and the arupa realm. So this word, so realm, it's a place of establishment. And so kama realm is for the beings who still have delight in sights and sounds, odors, taste, tactile sensations, and these mental objects. And so there are the devas, the 6 different levels of devas, humans, and then lower than the humans. And so these, the realms of woe, so the animal realms, and the pretas, the hungry ghosts, the asura, the hell beings. So those are those lower than humans, and higher than humans we have the deva realms. So all of these are within this, the realm of sensuality, for those who still have delight in sights, sounds, tastes, odors, tactile sensations, and these mental phenomena. So then that's one kind, and then another kind is the rupa realm. And so those are for beings who have jhana, the jhanic levels of samadhi. So the Brahma gods who have, so the first 4 levels of the Brahma gods. This is within the realms of rupa, of form. So those who have samadhi from the 1st jhana to the 4th jhana. And then there are those who have the arupa levels. And here there is no form. So there's just the mental qualities. So the Vedana and Sanya, Sankara, So the feelings and the memories or perception and mental formation, sense consciousness. So there's no form there, because they understand that form is suffering. They understand that if they don't have any form, then they won't have any suffering. So they try to focus their samadhi on mental qualities so that there won't be any form. So this is the arupa. So the arupa jhanas, the formless jhanas, and the formless realms of being. So these are the four different kinds of existences, the realms of existence. And then there are the four kinds of birth. And so there's upadika, which is those beings who are instantly born. So here there are the devas, and then there's also the hell beings as well. So they're instantly born into that state. There are those who are born into a womb. So here we have humans, there's also cows and buffaloes, kangaroos. And so these are born into a womb. And there's the next kind, which is those that are born into eggs. So ducks and chickens, different kinds of birds. And then the next kind, those beings born into unclean things. So maggots and bacteria, for example. So this is the sangseka chat kind of birth. So with regards to the aggregates, so with the beings that have 5 aggregates, the 5 khandhas, there are humans, also animals have 5 khandhas, and the beings in the woeful states, so the suragayas, the pretas, the hell beings, and also devas, they have 5 khandhas. They have both physicality and mentality. And also the Brahmas, the Brahma gods, that still have form, so they still have 5 khandhas. But when they are able to develop jhana past the 4th jhana, their samadhi becomes even deeper, then they enter into this deep, there's one kind of Brahma that enters into a very deep stillness where there is just rupa. So there's just form there. So there's no feeling. Because they understand that if they have any kind of feeling, then that's really agitating, it's very chaotic. And so they've gotten to a state where they're able to put out all of this feeling, all knowing. And there's a great stillness there, a great equanimity there. So for them, they just have this one khandha of form. And then there's the arupa Brahmas, the formless Brahman gods. And they have 4 khandhas. So they don't want to have any form. And they just have this memory and feeling, mental formation, sense consciousness. And they have the kind of samadhi that allows that. But all of the Brahma gods and all of these beings we've described, so whether 5 khandhas or 4 khandhas or 1 khandha, that they still spin around in the cycle of birth and death, that they're still on the worldly level. So they haven't yet, so even these kind of high Brahmas, they haven't yet reached the level of anagami. So there's one level of Brahma that the anagamis get born into, and this is a higher level for those who will reach Nibbana.